Evening VC, Dave, back from Los Angeles, California. Hell of a last week. And I'm not really sure how it all started, but a few months back, I think I was on a text back and forth with Sherv, Julius Jabbar. I'm sure we were dealing with something with the Blue Note project, and it just came up about the fact that I needed to get out to LA at some point and hit Amoeba, and he's like, yeah, if you get out here, you're welcome to stay. So the wheels got turning. I looked at flights. They were super cheap, especially to Ontario Airport, which is closer to Sherv, for direct flights. So I snagged one, and this was before the vaccines were in full rollout. So I got my vaccine and got in touch with a lot of VC members out west, and put together a dig at Amoeba on Friday, the day before Record Store Day. Also got some folks from the Vinyl Champions Facebook group out for the dig that day, and yeah, flew out. Sure picks me up in style at the airport. Tells me he missed the exit by a couple exits on the way out because he's used to keep going to the record store. He's got it bad. So they got to Sherv's. They showed me to where my quarters would be, and on the bed was this wonderful card: John Coltrane's Soul Train. Welcome to Redlands. This is a little something to remind you of our little town. We welcome you to our home. Sincerely, Mrs. Jabbar, aka Nan. And also was this t-shirt waiting for me from Redlands, California. Great town, kind of surrounded by the San Bernardino Mountains. Kind of feels like a spiritual place, and I mean, Sheriff said there's just a ton of churches there, a lot of Mormon, Seventh-day Adventists. There's like one on just about every corner, it seems. But it's, spiritual place, so I understand why a lot of those kind of folks settled there. But yeah, I gotta thank Sherv and Nan and Melissa, Jake, and Willie, and Stella. Just the whole family was phenomenal. Amazing hospitality, just a fantastic time, and yeah, there were records. Oh, lots of digging. Where to begin? This is gonna be a long video, by the way, lengthy, like Mazzy plus Andrew. So, sure knew I was into punk and had a recommendation for this record store close by, so we headed there. It's Dr. Strange Records. Yep. And they give you this killer sticker. Established in 1988. Really cool building. And found a few. First thing I found was this Slint 7-inch on What a Meta U Records, out of Rome, Italy. So some type of bootleg, but it's got Untitled from Twee Sessions on side A, Untitled from Spiderland Sessions on side B. It's a boot, but really cool, 1 of 78 pressed on this really cool color vinyl. And I talked to Scott at Lunchbox recently. He said, yeah, this is different versions than what's already been put out. So cool first find of digging in California there. And then Sherv pointed this out because he's got one of these comps. That's Bloodstains Across Spain, 17 Essential Punk Rock Blasts. This is an Andorra pressing from 97. TNT, Gangrena, Escorbuto, KGB, just to name a few. And I'm familiar with those bands just from you know, these are bands that influenced the whole punk scene, the B-core scene in Barcelona. A lot of other bands on here. This is stoked to find that. They don't sell them on Discogs. And then this is sold out on Discogs. The Evens on Discord. This is Ian McKay from Fugazi and Amy Farina. Just a duo. They toured with the X back in like '05 in France. I saw them in that video I have of the X. Really good stuff. And I collect the label, so this was a huge ad. Really cheap. Ian an acoustic guitar on a lot of this. Amy on drums and vocal. Stoked to find that. And that was the Dr. Strange dig. I think we then headed over to one of Sherv's favorite stores, Rhino Records, and he found some killer records in there. I was a little overwhelmed with the sticker prices in there, especially on new records, but I wanted to support, so I did find one record in there, one that was just added to my want list. It's a new release. This is Halu Mergia and the Walias band, Tazita, Ethiopian instrumental music on awesome tapes from Africa, and this is freaking killer. This is like in that Ethiopiques series type stuff. Yeah, my God, really dope. And this was fair price. It's only like $1 or $2 more than what it is here, so supported Rhino Records. They were getting ready for record store day in there. So yeah, we had gotten in touch with Alex Motor at 247 while we were at Dr. Strange, and he had to work but was getting off early, and so he's in Claremont, and said, yeah, why don't I meet you at Glass House Records? So we headed over to Glass House, which is, I believe, is in Pomona. Could be wrong, but yeah, got over to Glass House, met Alex, and he is you know, just like he is in the videos, the real deal. And yeah, we found some records in Glass House. First thing I found was one on my want list, and that is Pure Rankin Horace Andy, and this is a reissue on that Clock Tower Records label out of Ontario, Canada, that I've shown stuff from. This was a good price, and stoked to find it. And this is on really cool color wax, the nice label. This is heavy duty too. It's like 180 gram. Killer. Always stoked to find any Horace Andy. Brilliant vocalist, brilliant guitarist. Of course, he was in Massive Attack later in his career. Yeah, so any of his reggae stuff, all about it. So that was a cool find. Next, Sherv put this in my hands, and I was like, I don't know. But I knew that Sherv and Jim are into the blues, and my blues section has one blues record. So I knew there was going to be some things to learn from these guys while I'm out there. So he recommended this. This is really cheap. Jimmy Johnson, Barroom Preacher. I mean, he's the Reverend of beer. How do I leave it behind? I mean, and this is on the Alligator Records label. Really cool. I don't, obviously have anything on this label, so really cool label. And yeah, grab that, and that was all I was going to get at Glass House. They did have a Michael White Impulse on the Wall, but I'm not too big on violin. And the largest used section of any record store I've ever been in. It was pretty much all used new arrivals. So Alex is paying for his records at the counter, and speaking of Alex, the guy from Record Safari that pretty much runs Glass House walks in, and for some reason I thought he was taller. He is just a tiny, short little guy with big curly hair. The guy that does the deals in the Coachella, but he set some records down on the counter, and Alex said, "Hey Dave, I have this. You need to get this." So I did. It walked in the door, and 3 minutes later, it walked right back out the door. I cleaned it, play tested it, and I paid for it. And that is the Henry Grimes Trio, The Call, ESP disc, an original stereo copy. Henry Grimes bass, Perry Robinson clarinet, and Tom Price on the drums. This is extremely difficult to find, and was just a huge score, one of the biggest of the trip. So yeah, was stoked with that. And then we went across the way to bar restaurant. They had some good beers on tap, and just shot the shit for quite a while before heading out. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. I think before we did that, we snuck our head into Zoink Records around the corner too, and I didn't find anything in there. It was a real small place. Alex had brought some trade in there. But it was funny, they had that Black Flag promo 7-inch from Licorice Pizza that I found at Noble Records. They had a copy of that in there for $150. So yeah, I got to tell Dylan about that, because that you don't see those hardly ever, and now I've personally seen 3 of them. So that was kind of crazy. But and there was a Moog shop that wasn't open. It was appointment only. I guess the owner of one of the record stores, he does appointments, and he's got some rare records on the wall, and there was like some Tangerine Dream originals in there. Bill would have been losing his mind, but it was closed, so we couldn't peruse in there. But it was awesome hanging with Alex and Sherv then. And then Thursday morning, Jim shows up early from Vegas, from Channel Rufus. So like Sherv and Jim are tied at the hip when it comes to record collecting, and it's real similar to my friend Joe and I from over the years. So it was really cool to see and hear them and all their stories, and I mean, to tell you, it was really cool. And Sherv's daughter was graduating school out there, and she's a DJ at KUCR, UC Riverside. Give me this cool sticker. So yeah, music, just all in the family. Nan's collection is just spectacular too. And I had gone through some of Sherv's records, night before, and he's showing me all kinds of stuff. And yeah, he hooked me up with this record upon showing up. Ted Dunbar, Opening Remarks, on the Xanadu label, and this was a completely sealed copy from 1978. So this is an original shrink. It's just strange cracking the seal on a record that's that old, for the first time. So this, hadn't seen the light of day. Some great players: Tommy Flanagan, Sam Jones, Leroy Williams. So you got the inner is just untouched. Brand spanking new record. Really cool gift. Looking forward to getting into this. Sam Jones is a killer, so this is going to be great. So that was really cool. I guess Sherv's had a double of it. And so I got to try to remember where we headed first the next day. Oh, hell. Where'd we go? Oh, we headed out to Long Beach. Um, really, really cool, mellow place. Kind of like all the towns I'd been in so far. Like really cool taco place in Claremont. Some of the best tacos I've ever eaten. Can't remember the name. But we hit up Fingerprints Records, and Sheriff's wife went with us. So yeah, big store. They had some great stuff in there. They had solar gambling on the wall for like $200, which is pretty much the going rate for that record. So that's Omar Rodriguez Lopez from Mars Volta. I already have the record, so but it's still crazy to see a copy. Yeah, I only picked up 2 records there because I was trying to behave with Amoeba coming up on Friday. But I did find this Holger Zukai, Rome Remains Rome. And I'd never seen this in the wild. And this is I believe a reissue on Gronlund Records out of Germany. But Jackie Lebezit is on here, Ja Wobble, Holger Zukai. I mean, this is going to be killer. Looking forward to spinning this. And I found this record, the Bitter Funeral Beer Band live in Frankfurt, '82 with Don Cherry and Kay Serdar. This has been on my want list. And sure was like, I got a copy of that at the house. You just put it down. So this is Sherv's copy on Black Sweat Records. So that was another one from Sherv. Very cool. But I found this. This is one that Stunty showed recently, and went on the want list and was stoked to find it because it's hard to find a good copy on Discogs in the States. Julian Priester, Peppo Matoto, Love on ECM. This is phenomenal. Yeah, what more can be said about this? Henry Franklin's on here, Bill Connors, tons of great players. Of course, Julian Priester, one of my favorite trombonists, but he's, plays a lot of different instruments here. And let's see. That was Fingerprints, and then we walked over to Record Box, and I was looking for a certain record that Alex had shown in one of his videos there that was on the wall. That was a few months back. I figured it wouldn't survive, and it didn't. But they had a cool little 7-inch section for jazz. Thought about picking some of those up, but I didn't. And then I think sure picked up one record. I think it was a Wu-Tang record. And then I went over to the used jazz, and I found Ralph Towner Batik, or Batik. And yeah, he had been looking for it, so snagged it and hooked him up. That was vinyl karma, because I thought about going into Repo because I know they have a copy back on the back wall. No one knows that record. It had to be still there. I hadn't been to Repo though since right before the pandemic started, so I guess January of 2020. But I thought about going in there and getting it, and I was like, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go into Repo anymore. But lo and behold, there was a copy, super cheap, right in the bin. Great record. So that was kind of vinyl karma there. And we had a nice dinner and headed back, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, that was Thursday. And then, of course, Friday, the big day. Had reached out to everybody, and pretty much everybody was still on board. So headed out from Sherv's, and it was Jim, myself, and Sherv, and we went and picked up Alex. So we carpooled in. Got to Amoeba about 15 minutes before they opened. There was maybe 20 people in line, if that. I don't even think there was that many. And easy to park there. Saw a couple of the stars on the Walk of Fame or whatever that's called, and yeah, they opened. We rolled in, and then Andrew and Danny showed up. Andrew, Tales from the Crate, of course. Danny from Not Enough Records, and was stoked to see those guys. So I got to meet them, and then Henry from Final Champions. He used to be have his own VC channel, To the Boy Ellis, Henry Derrick Ellis, an amazing musician. His country stuff is unbelievable. Check him out on YouTube. Check him out on Bandcamp. He's in a doom metal Qualm, which is killer. And he's also from, I think, Act of Defiance is the metal band. It was just, I mean, he was super cool, really cool. And he was stoked to be in Amoeba. Like, he was in there like 1 minute and he already had a record in his hand, an Arab Strap record, that he was stoked to find. So yeah, I didn't even really know where to begin. I was just looking up the whole time and looking at pillars holding up the building covered in records, like, you know, grails. And I looked over, and Jim had been there maybe a few weeks prior, so he knew the lay of the land. So he was immediately at the jazz, and Sherv was immediately at the world section, and so I headed over to the jazz section to start the epic Amoeba dig. And here's what we found at Amoeba. First thing I found in the bins was this Peter Brotzman record. And yeah, what's this called? I think it's like 50 years after, live at the Lila Ule, Bremen, from May 26th of 2018. And this is a record that Sherv had shown a while back and kind of went up into the memory banks. It wasn't even on my want list. I thought it was, but it wasn't. And so Peter Brotzman on tenor, clarinet, Alex von Schlippenbach on piano, and Han Bennick on the drums. As you know, I love Han Bennick. So the 2 sidelong pieces, freaking killer, free jazz. Stoked to find that right off. And the way the Amoeba does the wall is they have these like big wooden deals where there's like 4 records, top to bottom, in each one, and they're side by side all the way across the walls, way up. And it takes one of the lackeys there to get the big stick out and pull the thing down so you can get one. Well, as soon as you take one out, they're not going to put it back up and leave it empty. Somebody comes out of the back with another rare as balls record and fills the hole. And it happens all day long. There's never a time where the wall has a hole. So what's in the back? That's just, you could sit in Amoeba all day and just watch people buy stuff off the wall and see what gets replaced until something comes out that you want. I mean, you could do that. It's freaking crazy. So I immediately saw one on the wall and had been like, oh, I'll just go back and get it later. And then I think Andrew or maybe Sherv or Jim, somebody told me, hey, get it now. They'll put it behind the counter for you. Because when you get something off the wall, you can't walk around the store with it. They have to put it behind the counter anyway. So I grabbed this. Lester Bowie, numbers 1 and 2. An original on Nessa, sealed, as it says there. The shrink. Yeah. So all the members of Art Ensemble of Chicago here. Yeah, Roscoe Mitchell, Joseph Jarman, Malachi Favors. First time I've ever seen this in the wild. So that was my first wall grab. And then next up, Alex was over in the classical section and handed me this. I don't know where he had found it, but Ronald Shannon Jackson and the Decoding Society, Eye on You, on About Time Records, and said, this is one I needed to pick up, so I picked it up. really cool label. And this has got Byard Lancaster, Charles Brackeen, Melvin Gibbs, of course Ronald Shannon Jackson on the drums. So yeah, cool find there. Thanks to Alex. And then I found this in the jazz bins. The Jazz Composers Orchestra. Cecil Taylor, Don Cherry, Roswell Rudd, Pharoah Sanders, Larry Coryell, Gato Barbereri. This beauty on the JCOA label, one that was missing from the collection. Really stoked with that. That's an original of that. And then I wandered over to the metal holy moly wall of Amoeba. And I saw this on the wall, and I kind of couldn't believe it. And there was a guy and a girl standing next to me, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I should get that." And I said, and so I kind of waited a few minutes, and then they were kind of just talking about other stuff, and I was like, "Hey, so you're gonna get this record?" And they're like, "Oh no, go ahead, man, go ahead." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I got it, and that is Motorhead, No Remorse, in the leather bag, the UK pressing. And this, of course, has got Ace of Spades. It's got everything on here you need, according to Sherv. And so this came home with me. This is probably one of the coolest finds of the trip. Yeah, Lemmy. They had, and it's funny, they had Lemmy face masks where he looked like Jesus. I should have got one. I don't know why I didn't. Maybe I can order one. Anyway, that was huge. And then right there on the wall next to it was this Boris new album, Japanese press, as it says there on the sleeve. Boris I didn't have. This is a double with the Obi, pretty much brand spanking new. And this was a really cheap price. I couldn't believe it. Grab that. So that was the metal wall. Then I saw some of the Avant classical stuff that they had up on one of the walls, and this was a big one. This was the most expensive record of the trip, but well worth getting. The Xenakis Persepolis original Philips French pressing. Of course, the Avant Experimental Composer. This is another shiny one here. Yeah, original French pressing says on the sleeve. Huge find. One that actually Alex had seen before me and had debated on getting. And I would have been fine if he got it. It would have saved me some coin, but it had to come home. And then on the 7-inch wall, well, they had an Oris Andy for one, but it was $200. But they had this, Rollins Band, hard with low self-opinion. This is number 732 of 1,000 on blue wax. So I picked up some Henry Rollins in LA. This is live from '92. Very cool, 7-inch. So those were my Amoeba finds. We walked out, we were waiting on Jim. He had gone back in for about the third time. And he came out and handed me this record. Sunnyland Slim plays the Ragtime Blues on Bluesway. So another blues record added to the collection. Freaking killer. Thanks, Jim. This is looking forward to this. And so we headed over to, after Amoeba, and they hooked me up with this sticker, which is really cool. Some other things, but we headed over to where Andrew and Danny go to eat whenever they're digging in LA, and it was killer. And at that point, that's when Sandra showed up from the Facebook group. She had to work, so she couldn't make Amoeba, but she met up with us there because we were going to hit up Freak Beat Records, and which is in Sherman Oaks area of Los Angeles. and it was really cool. Like all of us sitting together at that restaurant. Man, you know, just right there, I was like, yeah, everything came together because everybody was kind of talking about what they found and showing a few of the records they found and having some good food and drinks, and yeah, and then we kind of moseyed on over to Freak Beat to continue the dig. It's a record store that Henry had recommended us to meet at after Amoeba. So yeah, and then Henry, you know, he had an errand to run, and then he met us there, and everybody found great records there too. Yeah, another cool record shop in LA, Freak Beat Records on Ventura Boulevard. I just found 2 records there because I was pretty spent as far as like mentally from the monstrosity that was Amoeba. I mean, I couldn't even bring myself to dig through the CDs really, or the movies. Like I kind of looked for a few things really quick in the book section too, but just I was just like looking up, like it was crazy. Picked up McCoy Tyner Asante. Sherv had talked about this record and pulled it out and showed me the night before, and there was a copy. This one McCoy Tyner I don't have. Buster Williams is on this. Just freaking killer. So, you know, Billy Hart. Yeah. Nice used copy of that. A 70s press, I believe. And then this, the Cairo Jazz Band. And I'm not even sure what all this is. It's got some interesting inserts, but we'll get into this. Of course, they had played with Sun Ra in Egypt. So this was kind of a really cool find. Both on their jazz wall. And yeah, I know Danny found some rare stuff in there, a really nice blues record, and Andrew found a Philip Glass from off the wall, and a bunch of great punk records. I mean, people were finding good stuff, which I was stoked about. And yeah, Sandra found some Cure records that she didn't have, and some other great stuff that she's into. So yeah, I mean, really, really solid day. So we headed back after that, and pretty much chilled the rest of the weekend. But Sherv, the ultimate host, had to hook me up with some more records of his. He had a shelf with maybe some stuff that he had picked up for Jim, but Jim already had it or whatnot. So, or he had doubles. So I picked up Chick Corea Arc here that Sherv gave me on ECM, and you don't see this one very often. This is the US version, of course. There's a different version, the German version, that he had too. So looking forward to that. Of course, Chick just passed, and I don't have hardly any Chick Corea. Gave me this record, Gabor Szabo, Bacchanal on the Sky Records label. I know this is great. My friend Joe found this and played this when I lived with him, and this is killer. This is a killer record. Oh yeah. Thank you, Sherv. And then he hooked up some more blues. Big Joe Williams, The Legacy of the Blues, Volume 6, on the Crescendo label, or GMP Crescendo. So some more blues. Gonna get knee deep in that stuff. And then last but not least, well, there's a couple more things here. I don't know how we got talking. Oh, we got talking about Maiden because of Jim, I believe, or I can't remember. But he pulled this out, and I guess he either had a double or something. But Iron Maiden, made in Japan, and this is killer. And has the song Killers on it. So this one, really looking forward to jamming this. When the neighbors are getting rowdy, I will be rowdy right back in their face. Okay. And we were talking about Now Again Records, and he pulled out this record, and then he's like, you know what? I have the CD too. You can have the CD. I don't need it. I got the record. Black Power Peace, or Black Power the Peace. Some great Zambian stuff. So looking forward to putting this in the car. And then after that, we had a day pretty much chilling, checking out the town of Redlands, and headed back. Epic journey. Amazing stuff. Looking forward to everybody's videos. I've seen Sherv's. Yeah, I hope everybody does a Finds video for their Amoeba haul and Freak Beat haul. Yeah, sorry, long video. Everybody take care out there. And it all starts over again tomorrow. Bill from the Vinyl Verse is in town, getting up with John, Digital Gramophone, possibly Chris, Tunes from the Man Cave. Keeping the ambassador role going here. Peace.